The following episode review goes over a woman who had unalived herself. This video is for commentary purposes only. If you or anyone you know has thoughts of harming oneself, it's important to seek help as there is always someone who can provide help. Hello everyone, this is Dalster and welcome to another episode review for Dark Side of the Ring, and in this video it talks about Daffney's life and her struggles with mental health. I just want to give a trigger warning that this episode will be a hard watch as Daffney has taken her own life and it will be discussed in this episode. If you are very sensitive to mental health or anything related to mental issues, I recommend not watching this episode as I heard that it's a very sad episode and it talks about someone taking their own life. As someone who also struggles with mental health myself, it's never easy, and you have your good days and your bad days. There is still hope, and I just want you all to know that you are all special in your own way, and that someone out there loves you. I'll input the suicide hotlines or websites in the description box down below if you guys want or need to talk to someone. I used to do YouTube lives called Mental Health Talks, where I would talk about mental health and the struggles that I have dealt with. And I hope to bring it back soon, probably the summer, as I should have some availability opening up soon. So I'll go over the episode first and share my thoughts at the end. Just to make it easy for you guys, I will call Daffney by her ring name, which is Daffney, or Shannon, which is her real name. Growing up as a kid, Shannon was born in a military family. She was very close with her brother Darren, as their family had moved numerous times due to her parents being in the military. Shannon was a very athletic and active person as she sang, danced, acted, and played soccer as a kid. Around her adolescent years, she was in movies such as Santa Claus from 1985 and Insignificance, which also came out that same year. In a 2001 interview as seen in this episode, Daffney said that she always wanted to be an actress. Eventually, she landed a job at wrestling promotion WCW World Championship Wrestling in 1999, where she was playing David Flair's crazy goth girlfriend. Daffney was supposed to do a one-time stint, but she ended up working full-time for WCW as the audience liked her gimmick. Another reason as to why WCW had hired Daffney was because of her gymnastics background. She wanted to be a different wrestler that wasn't just a pretty face. Her character in the ring was a goth person who laughed and screamed menacingly. At WCW, she worked with David Flair, and soon after that, they became a trio when they added wrestler Crowbar. Towards the last years of WCW, Daffney would become the WCW Cruiserweight Champion. When WCW closed in 2001, Daffney had sunk into a deep depression as she did not immediately get hired for WWE World Wrestling Entertainment, just like some of the other WCW wrestlers. Instead, she got a developmental deal with WWE for 9 months, but after that, she left and was then diagnosed with bipolar disorder. During that time, Shannon was dealing with a divorce as well. Shannon would then have trouble sleeping as she was not able to sleep for more than 1 hour and had developed a stutter as heard by her interview in 2013. She tried to take depressants but would soon stop as she had felt that they did not work for her, causing Daffney to spiral. Her brother said that Shannon would have her moments as some days were good but other days were really bad. Bipolar disorder is an instability of moods where you would get really depressed and all of a sudden your brain switches to a manic mode. Amanda Rodriguez, who was Daffney's best friend and also has bipolar disorder, explains it by saying that your brain tricks you as your chemicals get messed up. When you get manic, it can be very scary, as if you're in a backseat and your body is the car while someone else is driving that car and you somehow recognize the situation, as described by Amanda. Amanda also said that if you don't take care of yourself when taking medicine or get help with bipolar, it can lead to depressive mania. Shannon said in the 2013 interview that when she was in the car one day, she felt that she was going crazy. Unfortunately, Shannon did not take her medicine because of the side effects and that it was going to get her to gain more weight. One day, Daffney developed a very manic mode, so her brother Darren had to take her to the doctor. As they were heading towards the doctor, Daffney had tried to get out of the car and run away. They were able to get to the doctor as Darren was having difficulty controlling Shannon, but she stayed at the hospital for a couple of weeks. Her father, Quentin, had a hard time accepting Shannon's disorder, but tried to be there for her and believed that she was going to be able to handle it herself. In 2003, she went on to the indie circuit in order to rebuild her career. Shannon's father did not want her to go back to wrestle, but she did anyway. When Daffney went back to wrestle, she seemed to be in a better state of mind during that period. One of those reasons was Daffney being in the Shimmer Wrestling promotion, as she gave it her best in the ring, even if it was a small crowd that was just watching her wrestle. Over at Shimmer Wrestling, Daffney would meet Chantel Malawiski, who people would know as Taylor Wilde from TNA, Total Nonstop Action. It was said that Daffney felt right at home in Shimmer Wrestling, as it was a promotion full of women wrestlers. During that period, she met a wrestler named Caleb Conley, who was 20 years old at the time. They began to date, but eventually broke up due to Daffney's bipolar disorder. Caleb said in the episode that Daffney would lose her temper and would have a hard time getting out of bed. He also said that he still loved her, but did not fully understand what she was going through at the time, as he was very young. Eventually, Daffney went on to TNA. At first, she became a parody character of Sarah Palin, who TNA referred to as the Governor. The TNA audience did not recognize that it was actually Shannon or Daffney who was portraying this fake Sarah Palin. After a couple of segments, she worked with Stevie Richards, who was known in TNA as Dr. Stevie Richards, and helped the Governor learn her true identity by having her be a patient at a mental asylum and treating her. She would then use the Daffney gimmick again and wrestle throughout her time there. While she was wrestling for TNA, Daffney would take the most painful bumps, such as this one match where she was put in a pile of thumbtacks, and when she laid on the thumbtacks had gone to her back. Ouch. Mick Foley, who used to wrestle for the promotion, thought that it would be a great idea for Daffney to be involved in the Monster Ball match that he had with Abyss, as he thought that it would put over Daffney in TNA. Sadly, it did not work out, as Daffney would get thrown to a table that had thumbtacks and barbed wire on it. Her head had landed first on the concrete floor, causing Daffney to develop a concussion that would be the beginning of the end for her wrestling career. Mick remembered Daffney telling him that she was fine with it after thinking about it for a while, but he said that he wished that things did not go the way they did with Daffney because she got seriously hurt in the end. Lexi remembered Daffney telling her that she felt very uncomfortable doing the stunt that TNA had her do, which was to get dropped to a table with barbed wires and thumbtacks. She does not blame any of the wrestlers, as things like this sometimes happen in the wrestling ring. Some of Daffney's co-workers tried to check on her, but were either pulled away or had the curtain covered in order to stay away. Daffney also had a broken arm and had no memory of what just happened to her. Mick said in the episode that he felt terrible about it and still does to this day. She came back to wrestle not that long after the fall, even though the doctor had told Daffney to never go back to wrestling. Many wrestlers don't always follow through doctor's orders because they do not want to lose a top spot, as it is a competition for a lot of these wrestlers. When Daffney came back shortly, she had to face Rosie Laudelove, who was a huge woman back then. Rosie ended up landing on Daffney's ribs, causing her sternum to break. Her finisher reminds me of Nia Jax's, where Nia would jump in the air and put her entire body on her opponents, or at least sat down on her opponents though. Imagine that, but with a bigger woman. Yeah, that does not seem like fun. TNA ended up not paying Daffney's medical bills as her concussion had worsened, so she then filed a claim against the company. However, Daffney was an independent contractor, so her claim did not go through. Daffney did get a settlement, though, as TNA offered Daffney her own TNA action figure, but in a 2-pack with Dr. Stevie Richards. Back then, during the early 2000s and before, TNA did not have concussion protocols. Because of Daffney almost taking TNA to court, her claim helped pave the way for future wrestlers to get better treatment. However, the damage was already done as Daffney began to suffer severe moods because of her untreated concussion. In 2011, Daffney had many headaches, causing her to retire from wrestling altogether. Afterwards, Daffney made appearances, sold stuff, and became a producer for the Shine Wrestling promotion in Florida. It was said in the episode that Daffney tried to fight the stigma of bipolar disorder with a group of women, one of them being Amanda. Eventually, Daffney started getting vertigo, which is a sensation of motion, or in easier terms, a feeling of spinning or whirling, often accompanied by a sense of imbalanced or dizziness. Daffney then decided that she wanted her brain to be donated to Boston in order for the doctors to do studies on her brain. That same year, in 2011, she made a vlog explaining that she missed being in the ring. Daffney tried to self-medicate herself instead of taking her meds, but this would lead to her getting DUIs that would land her into rehab. During that time, Daffney had tried to take her life. As the years have gone by, Daffney had also gained weight and felt so bad about it, making her very insecure about herself. In a 2011 interview, Daffney had said that one fan had told her that she looked like the kid of Ozzy Osbourne and Roseanne Barr. Some of her fans had also started to turn on Daffney during that period, saying mean comments to her. Daffney would eventually have issues with her thyroid and was crying more often than ever. To make matters worse, she also started getting menopause. When COVID-19 hit in 2020, Daffney felt more lonely even though she had her family and friends in her life. During that time, Daffney had just gotten her life together as she had a new apartment, a new job, and was going back to school. Her father said in the episode that he thought that Shannon was doing better. Then there was the Instagram Live video that happened on September 1st, 2021. On the Instagram Live, Daffney had stolen her roommate's gun and had told the people who watched the live to take care of your brain as hers was going to get studied in Boston. Darren said that he saw 20 to 30 seconds of the live and immediately went to Daffney's place. Many of her co-workers and friends tried to call her but got no answers, as police would then be called. Lexi remembered during that day when Daffney had told her that she was going to break her promise. Taylor recalled the moment when the live had went black. When Shannon's brother and their parents had arrived, the firefighters broke down Shannon's door only to find Shannon dead. Her parents were on their knees crying. Clinton wished that he could have talked Shannon out of her suicide. Lexi said that she was mad at Shannon for taking her own life and for doing it to her daughter as well. Lexi also said that it felt as though she had a hole in her heart once Daffney had passed away, but she eventually forgave Daffney. At the end of the episode, her family and friends gave this feeling of sadness and grief, recalling the day that Daffney had died. When her brain got sent to Boston, it was confirmed that Daffney did in fact have CTE, chronic traumatic encephalopathy. Taylor said that Daffney wanted to spread the word on concussions and how to take care of yourself. Instead, she had her brain donated in order to help others. Before Daffney had died, she had a match with a woman named Vicky Lyons, who had gotten hurt badly due to a car accident. Vicky had always wanted to be a wrestler but was not able to, so Daffney had given Vicky a match in order to put her over, causing Vicky to win. Quentin said that he still misses and loves Daffney, but was surprised by how many lives she had touched in a positive way. Her co-workers and her family still miss Daffney and talked positively about her in this episode, such as Daffney always having a positive attitude. Taylor thanked Daffney at the end of the episode. Her brother talked about growing old with Daffney and hoped that he did a good job for her as a brother. Somewhere in the episode, they show us pictures of Daffney when she was young and innocent. Dark Side of the Ring also shows us a lifeline if you ever have suicidal thoughts or you just want to talk to someone. You can call 988 as it is available 24/7, or you can do online chatting at 988lifeline.org, or I'll put it in the description box in case you guys don't know what I'm saying actually. Interviewers for this episode are Mick Foley, Darren Sproul, Shannon's brother, Chris Crowbar Ford, Quentin Sproul, Shannon's father, Lexi Fife, Amanda Rodriguez, Chantel Malawiski, Taylor Wilde, and Caleb Conley. Some facts about Daffney that they did not mention in this episode is that Daffney's full name was Shannon Claire Spruell, and she was born on July 17th, 1975. I guess she's not the only one who has a birthday in July, if I say so myself. She was born at the United States Air Force in Wiesbaden Army Airfield in Hesse, West Germany. Shannon and her brother Darren were military brats, meaning that they were children of full-time U.S. Armed Forces, whether current or former. Her father was stationed in Germany, as Shannon would eventually be born in that same place. The Spruell family went back to the United States in 1976, where they lived in Utah for a while, and they eventually moved to Georgia. After Georgia, they moved to Illinois, followed by moving to the United Kingdom, and then moved back to Germany until her father Quentin retired in 1987 as a lieutenant colonel. In March of 1998, Shannon graduated from Georgia State University with a bachelor's degree in film and video production. Before she took acting full-time, Shannon had worked in media production. The Daffney gimmick was inspired by a character from the movie Natural Born Killers named Mallory Knox, played by actress Juliette Lewis. However, Shannon said that Harley Quinn was the inspiration behind Daffney. On May 8th, 2000, Daffney faced Miss Elizabeth in her first match, although I'm not sure who won that match. Sorry about that. Daffney scored the pin for herself and Crowbar in order to get the WCW Cruiserweight title, but she and Crowbar had to face each other in order for one of them to get the title, which Daffney ended up getting in the end. She was the second woman to get the Cruiserweight title, first being Medusa. After WCW, Daffney went to Dusty Rhodes' training camp for 8 months. At Extreme Pro Wrestling in 2003, she worked as a wrestling manager named Lucy and managed Vic Grimes. While she was in contract with WWE and worked at their developmental promotion, Ohio Valley Wrestling, Daffney managed Aaron Stevens until her release. After retiring from wrestling the first time, Daffney sold her wrestling boots to her then roommate, Mickie James. After that, she worked as a personal trainer. In June 2005, she posed for a website that was owned and operated by wrestling employees, Francine and Missy Hyatt. Although I did hear some sketchy things regarding that website. Not sure if anything came out of it though. In February 2006, Daffney joined Women's Extreme Wrestling after joining the independent circuit. Her ring name over there was Lucy Fur, close to the word Lucifer. When she went to Shimmer Wrestling, Daffney was a Shark Girl character at first. The Shark Girl character would return to TNA for a while as the valet of Shark Boy. In June 2008, in an episode for TNA, Daffney appeared in the audience and volunteered to take on Awesome Kong, who was champion during that year, in order to get the Knockouts title and win some money. Daffney unfortunately lost since Awesome Kong back then was at her prime. When Daffney became the fake Sarah Palin, Taylor Wilde and Roxy knew that she was a fake. And that's the Sarah Palin character, not the Daffney character, by the way. She had the first blood match in TNA with Tara, aka Victoria from WWE, only to lose the match. In 2018, Daffney was in the audience for Mick Foley's stand-up special, 20 Years of Hell, which was shown on WWE Network, and she even got an acknowledgement from Mick Foley when he had that show. This was the only appearance she made that involved the WWE name. Daffney married guitarist Rich Ward in 1999, who was in the band Stuck Mojo and the lead guitarist for Fozzy. In case you didn't know, Chris Jericho narrates the episodes, and he's also the lead singer for Fozzy. They divorced in 2003, and afterwards, she dated CM Punk. She had a close relationship with transgender wrestler Jamie Lynn Senegal, whom Daffney considered to be her daughter. Jamie had also declined to be in this interview as she has a hard time talking about Daffney. After getting a DUI in 2011, she pleaded guilty and was sentenced to 1 year of probation and a fine of $1,580. Then in 2012, Daffney got into a serious car accident, but was saved as she gave thanks to her seatbelt. In January 2017, she had neck surgery in which the doctors had fused her C5 and C6 vertebra in order to fix an extrusion that was pressing upon her spinal column. That same year, she was a part of the book titled Sisterhood of the Squared Circle, The History and Rise of Women's Wrestling, where she quoted that concussions had ended her professional wrestling career and advised other wrestlers to rest after taking a blow to the head. She also mentioned in the book that the effects from her concussions had affected her day-to-day life, such as covering her windows with blankets because the bright lights would give her headaches. Daffney died on September 1st, 2021. On that day, she was in an Instagram Live. Daffney had read a suicide note and held her roommate's gun. She made a last request for her brain to be donated to Boston. Lexi was the first to announce Daffney's death online by the request of Daffney's family. Instead of her head, she had shot herself in the chest. When her brain was sent to Boston University, CTE, Center and Brain Bank, her brain was the first female brain to be studied on. Daffney was cremated, and a celebration of life was held at her funeral. Many TNA wrestlers or former WWE wrestlers attended, such as Mickie James, Mia Yim, Courtney Rush, and many more. Awesome Kong dedicated her induction into the Impact Hall of Fame to Daffney on September 18th. That same month, TNA dedicated the Monsters Ball match at Knockouts Knockdown to Daffney. Besides the Santa Claus 1985 movie, Daffney was also in I Surrender All in 2001 at the Gorda 2014. Daffney does not have many accomplishments even though she has worked very hard and dedicated her life to wrestling. She won the ACW American Joshi title at Anarchy Championship Wrestling once. In the Alabama Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame, Daffney got inducted in 2018. At Great Championship Wrestling, she won the GCW Women's title once, making this her first big title that she has ever won. Over at NWA Wrestle Birmingham, Daffney won the NWA Wrestle Birmingham Junior Heavyweight title once. Pro Wrestling Illustrated ranked Daffney for PWI Female 50 in 2009 at number 18. I give this episode an 8 out of 10 as it was a very hard watch, but it was worth seeing it and having a little bit of closure as to what happened to Daffney. It was interesting how Daffney only had a gymnastics background with some other athlete traits and somehow was able to wrestle or have the persistence to learn how to wrestle. Daffney also trained and went on to other wrestling promotions and in such a short amount of time made such a big impact. She may not have been the best, but she always brought out a show. I wish they would have included more of what the doctors found in Daffney's brain, as I kind of wanted to know more. I know a lot of athletes have a lot of bad concussions, but there must be some kind of other things going on with the brain. Very sad what happened to her at TNA, as they should have done more to help Daffney. I heard from a lot of people that Dixie Carter was in charge when Daffney had that bad fall on the table. She did have another concussion, which is like, when is enough enough? Bipolar is not a fun disorder, as I have seen shows, movies, and real-life experiences with bipolar, and it's very painful and sad to watch. Even if you don't have it yourself, you feel so bad for the person. As someone who has major depressive disorder, I don't necessarily act out unless I am in a tight situation. Whenever I come across anything that reminds me of my past, I do get very anxious. I could also understand why Daffney refuses to take medicine, but when you have no option left, you just have to take it. When I took antidepressants, I did gain a lot of weight, but there were a lot of factors that led to it though, mostly high school trauma. The COVID-19 pandemic also caused me to gain more weight. Really hard to get into medicine because of weight gain, but I do take medicine that does not let me gain lots of weight though. Although I do like to eat a lot though. I can't help myself, I love snacks. We've lost a lot of great wrestlers because of mental issues, and it makes me really sad. The fact that it took Daffney to get a really bad concussion in order to change the policy's rules. You still have one person who suffered and no one did anything about it. It's just not fair. Daffney deserves so much better, and to die so soon, very tragic and heartbreaking. Also, when it comes to mean comments, you are always going to receive hate no matter where you go. My dad told me that there will always be people that will not like you for some reason, but it does not mean that you should feel bad about yourself. How I take on hate, I just try to do process of elimination and just ignore the comments that say things like stupid, weirdo, ugly, annoying, or KYS, which I'm pretty sure you guys know what that abbreviation stands for. As some people, for some reason, want to drag you down. However, there are those that say things like, I like your video, but maybe next time you can use this to put in your video instead, as that is usually criticism or feedback. I know it's really tough for a lot of people to deal with hate comments, but, sometimes you just have to separate the two, which is right, like who's trying to help you, or who's just trying to be a menace, like trying to be a bully. But it's only online bullying. I bet if you faced them in person, they'd be scared out of their pants. But yeah, online bullying sucks. It's gotten so bad over the years, and I wish people would stop bullying each other. Yeah, bullying is never good. And the fact that people were making fun of Daffney is just, it's not right. It should not be right. You don't know, well, obviously these people didn't know what she was going through until it was too late though. Well, yeah, I could relate a lot to Daffney. I myself have had a lot of rough times, a lot of dark phases where I just didn't want to get out of bed and just had thoughts about ending it, but I always try to remind myself, I have family and friends, and there are a lot of things that I would like to do, before I die. A lot of good things. That doesn't mean that you're a failure. No one's a failure in life, other than if they're being rude to you or things that are hurting people physically or psychologically. Those are the people that probably need more help and need to stop being jerks to other people. Being a jerk, it really affects a lot of people in the long run. And I really wish that Daffney was still here with us, along with other wrestlers who have taken their own lives, such as Ashley Massaro, Chris Canyon, and Kimura, I think. She was a Japanese wrestler. Really sad what happened to Kimura. Really sad. But that's all I have for this episode. I don't know if I'm gonna do like a follow-up because I've been thinking about it for a while. But I decided to continue on with my life and live for the people that unfortunately did not live because they were just too sad to live and had to end it all. But I'm gonna live for the people that should have deserved to live longer, that should deserve to be here. And I think that's a good way to honor them, to remember them by and never forget them. And it's also one of the reasons why I like to talk about this series, because it talks about the stories and all the hardships that a lot of these wrestlers, people of the subjects in this show, have gone through. And to remember them, always remember them, even if they're not in the WWE Hall of Fame. I want all the good people to be remembered. And it doesn't matter if they're celebrities or not. Good people deserve to be remembered forever. Whatever the case. Or if it's possible. Good people deserve good things. But that's all I have for today. And thank you guys for watching this episode. I know that it's a really tough episode to watch, but I think we really do need to talk about mental health more often. And what we can do about it and help other people too who are suffering. Not just athletes, but people in general. But thank you guys for watching, and we are getting close to 800 subscribers. You guys are amazing. You guys are awesome. And I want you guys to know that this channel would not have survived without you guys. Thank you for everything, and thank you for your time. I'll see you guys in the next episode. Comment, like, subscribe. Take care of your mental health and everyone around you, and I'll do the same too. Bye, guys.